It's March, and the madness has started. From upsets and Cinderellas to chalk brackets and entire cities being devastated and out of the dance, we have sports managers with NIL deals wearing Rolexes and Gucci sweatsuits, to coaches cursing at refs on live TV, and some looking for a new job. Who got signed this week in the NFL? And who's dancing the streets of the Big Apple? What player is sneaking behind closed doors in bed with his coach's ex wife? We will answer all those questions in today's podcast. We're going to start off with the most important part of the week. March Madness. We had round 1 and round 2 go on. Round 3 will start this week at the end of the week. But, as madness filled as March usually is, we've definitely seen a lot more chalk and a lot less upsets and Cinderellas. Why is that? We can blame NIL, the big schools with large pocket filled boosters, and the largest brand deals to pay for top dollar college athletes. A big reason we've seen so many SEC schools in the bracket this year. That limits smaller D1 schools from having just a couple of top end talented players. And to be able to create problems from the teams who don't take competition seriously, or from being able to capitalize when the higher seeds make mistakes. There was still a couple good games in the first couple rounds, accompanied by some upsets, but not as many as we usually see. This has been a great week, though. Just as a sports fan, it is so enjoyable to have important sports on day after day after day after day. And so the worst day is when they have the break in between round 2 and round 3, and we just have no college basketball in the middle. We did have a couple NBA games, but that's practically it. I mean, round 3 starts tomorrow, and I could not be more excited. Let's just start off with round 1. We had McNeese State eating Clemson. There's Amir Orakan, $100,000 in NIL deals. That is wild. Absolutely wild. Coming out with that boombox was fire, though. But I did want to take a look at these stats. This game's stats were some of the craziest I've seen. So let's go over them. Mostly team stat related, not just players. McNeese won by 2 points, 69-67. Their regular field goal percentage was 27 out of 62, which is 43.5%. Clemson, 21 of 57, 36.8%. But McNeese made only 4 3-pointers in the game. 4 of 19. That's 21.1%. Clemson was 9 of 30. That's 30% from deep. McNeese, 11 of 22, which is 50% from the free throw line. That's a crazy number. Clemson was 16 of 19. That's 85.5% from the free throw line. But McNeese had more total rebounds, more offensive and defensive rebounds, had more assists, more steals, more blocks, and less turnovers in the entire game. They did have 3 more fouls. But Amir Khan was out there iced up, bumping Ludfoe on a boombox like they were getting hyped up for war. The edits have been fire. as the only team manager with an NIL deal who wouldn't be ready to run through a wall walking through that tunnel. F it, just give the kid a jersey. Let him sit on the bench and be fully on the team. But, like the Post says, he is following Will Wade to North Carolina State. So we will get to see more full sweatsuits and Rolexes dishing dimes to NC State players in warm-up. Another round one game I want to talk about, the Colorado State-Memphis game. 12th ranked Colorado State beats the 5 seed Memphis by 8 points. Colorado State, led by a 6'2 guard, Kyan Evans, shooting 66% from deep with 23 points to push past Memphis, who just fell flat. Look at that line, especially after halftime. Dane Danger and PJ Haggerty, they tried their best, but PJ shot 12% from deep. As an NBA prospect, that literally will not seal the deal, especially in the madness of March. I was hoping that Memphis kind of worked their way through the bracket because I like Dane and I like PJ. But this is the beauty of March. It's one game. You have to compete every single game. You have to play your best. And if you don't, teams like this are dangerous. They will capitalize on your mistakes. Another round one game. Coach Cal and Arkansas upset Kansas in the first round by 7 points, 72-79. Now, I won't lie, Coach Cal is an enigma. Give him all the funding and all the talent, and he'll get bounced in the first round. Give him less talent and make his team the underdog, and he coaches his ass off and upsets his way through the bracket. Now, we will speak on Coach Cal when we get to round two, but other than that, those were the only notable upsets in the first round of the tournament. It was chalk as hell, with teams like Houston and a Cooper flagless Duke winning by margins of like 35 plus. Most of the games were just not watchable. Even though I watched them because I love basketball and I love March Madness, it just wasn't the most enjoyable watch I've ever been a part of. But look at this stat. Obviously, this is a round two game I want to talk about. Coach Cal and Arkansas smokes Pitino's 2-seeded St. John's. Coach Cal has more NCAA tournament wins in the last 3 days than he has in the last 5 years combined. And what was the last school he was at? Kentucky? Are they not like one of the top 5 blue collar or top 5 blue chip schools to go if you're an NBA, hell, D1 prospect? But Coach Cal, you dog. We all wanted the darling Pitino and his team to go the distance because I'm speaking for everybody here. We all love Pitino. But Coach Cal's making Kentucky keep eyes on his bracket like a jealous BF secretly stalking their ex's socials to see what they've been up to lately. Now, if Kentucky loses to Tennessee and Cal's Arkansas beats Texas Tech, we're going to be in for a show. Less talent, less NIL money, and less national coverage, and Cal just shows up. Maybe the man just loves being a sub, getting demeaned and shit. But jokes aside, he's the Cinderella of this tournament. And who doesn't love an underdog? I mean, hell, every sports movie is about an underdog. And we all eat it up. Now, as for Pitino, this is just my personal preference. Speaking of Kentucky, I mean, look at the players he's had on his team and still has more wins in the last 3 days with his Arkansas team than he does with teams where he had players like that. Shea, Jamal, just those caliber players, not necessarily those two. But as for Pitino, my personal opinion, we got to get a better shooting coach. Everybody eventually evolves, but with a team shooting so poorly from deep, the team immediately begins at a loss. Steph Curry revolutionized the game for a reason, and teams emulated that for a reason. Even if Pitino never changes, he'll still always be a shoo-in to have a date at the dance. But I'll say it. He might have the best personality out of any NCAA coach. Out of any. I bet he uses that to his favor every time he goes to recruit a player. I mean, if you're a player good enough to go to a D1 school and get recruited by every college in the nation, he's a hard no. He'll get your blood boiling. He'll make you feel like family. He'll make you want to run through a wall. Like everybody loves Pitino. But it was a wholesome moment when he went to watch his son after the loss. That's something we all love to see. The other good game in round 2 is Florida almost gets upset by Hurley's UConn. Now, Dan Hurley, he had a chance. He really did. He really did have a chance to three-peat. And I posed this question on Twitter. Hypothetically, if he would have been able to accomplish the three-peat, would he have been in convo for greatest coach of all time? Greatest college coach of all time? It's an interesting question because it's different than the NBA. Like, at least in the NBA, you could lose a game and still be in the dance. But to coach one and done tournaments, that's gotta be incredibly hard. Because they probably, a lot of these teams, they haven't played, especially this year. The only thing they can do is watch tape. But after the loss, Dan Hurley gets quoted. I hope they don't fuck you like they fucked us, Baylor. I really hope they don't. Now, he was talking about the refs in this situation. And telling Baylor, like, I hope the refs treat you well when you play Duke. But it didn't matter. Duke smoked them. And regardless of the first half free throw discrepancies, it wouldn't have mattered. We as sports fans love to complain about refs in college, in the NBA, and especially in the NFL. But every time a technological advancement is offered as a way to limit refs' subjective calls, there's always backlash. Nobody wants that. No fan wants that. We could blame the refs all day, but the fact of the matter is, the better your team performs, the less likely the refs have a chance to affect the game. But I'm a sports fan, and I'm still going to complain about the refs. It's just something we all do. And it's a good excuse for when your team loses. Such a good excuse. Oh, my team lost because of the refs. I use that shit all the time. Now, round 3 is coming up. So let's take a look at the bracket. some good games. Now, the tournament's been pretty much all chalk and a lot less excitement, but the more chalk means the games get better as we go forward. All 4 number 1 seeds are still in. There's only one team lower than 6, and that's Calipari's 10th seeded Arkansas. Now, Duke looks like they're playing with their food out there. Duke had 40% of the public bets backing them before the tournament even started. And as much as the books want to limit large-sided wins, it's really Duke's tournament to lose. They just look like the best team. Even when Flag was out, they were smoking all their competition. Now, let's hope and pray and cross our fingers that the Sweet 16 games will live up to the hype we expect for March. You got Duke versus Arizona, BYU, Alabama, Ole Miss, Michigan State, and Auburn, Michigan. You got Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas, Kentucky, Tennessee, Houston, Purdue. The games I'm most looking forward to, I'm looking forward to that Kentucky, Tennessee game. That's going to be a ride. Duke, Arizona. Arizona's fast. They're fast paced. They shoot well. I mean, you get Arizona on a hot night, they're a hard team to beat. Now, do I think Duke's going to lose? No, hell no. I don't think Duke's going to lose to anybody in this tournament, but might be a good game. Now, we could see some upsets. Upset potential games: Arkansas, Texas Tech. I keep eyeballing that Michigan Auburn game. Now, there's just something deep in me that feels like Michigan might have a chance to upset Auburn. And it would be cool to see a Michigan State Michigan game in the tournament. That rivalry goes crazy. Now, we do have some of these games coming up tomorrow. They start Thursday. And I will keep everybody updated on how that goes. But I want to switch over to a little bit of NFL news. Nothing too crazy. Now, we were talking about the Bengals the last couple weeks, right? Because for a while, I thought they weren't going to sign T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, or at least going to let one of them go. I mean, hell, they franchise tagged T. Higgins twice. Both those players deserve the money they got. And after T. Higgins and Jamar Chase sign their extensions, you know what they do? They go and buy Lamborghinis and McLarens and flex it. On IG, they race them around Miami together, looking like every 2010s music video we've ever seen. And I hate to say this, but flex it now, because that scrutiny is going to come, especially when 1/3 of your annual salary cap goes to 3 out of 52 active roster players. The Bengals better have a top tier plan for the draft, because if they draft badly, it's going to be a rough year for the Bengals. It's really, really going to be a rough year for the Bengals. They don't have enough money to make splashes in free agency, and that's why we just seen them lose players. Outside of the 2 players they signed, they lost Trey, they lost some O-line, they lost some defensive players, but they also didn't have enough money to make any moves to bring in other players. So it's going to be all reliant on these 3 players performing at the highest level to compete against teams that are well-rounded, both offensive and defensively. Some other NFL free agency news. The Big Apple's most important man landed in the streets, and he's dancing to a TikTok sound, high-fiving random ass people. Not on Broadway. And it wasn't TikTok's very own Juju Smith-Schuster, but the man most notably giving us the best NFL memes, the best gifs, eating W's for breakfast. Jameis gets signed to the New York Giants, and they find one of their QBs for the foreseeable future. And not even a day or two later, they turn around after paying Jameis Winston that contract, and they sign Mr. Unlimited. Now, I won't lie, this may be the worst possible news for one person. Not Shedeur, but Malik Neighbors. For a couple days, the Jameis news made me think Malik was about to go for 2,000 yards, and although not great for the Giants win column, great for just Malik's stat line. Jameis will throw a ton of yards, but the record never reflects great. Could have had 45 to 5K passing yards with 55 interceptions. But Russell Wilson has not impressed me for the last couple years. Everyone thought Justin Fields should have started at least a couple games for the Steelers last year. Russ won't lose you games, but he's not the guy to take over and win you games either, especially recently. Brian Daboll might be the happiest man in New York because he went from being stuck with the brainiac Daniel Jones to a quarterback competition between Jameis and Russell, the two most memed QBs of the last decade. Now, Daboll was labeled a QB whisperer. And as much as these are lackluster mid-tier options, it's a hell of a lot better than Daniel Jones. And way better for Russ and Jameis having him as a coach. But these signings pose some more questions, especially in the NFL, with players who haven't got signed, a specific player. What does this mean for Aaron Rodgers? The Steelers have been kind of hesitant, and a lot of players have spoken out against signing him, but there aren't many teams left. And the teams that may need a QB either have come out and said they aren't in the running to sign him or are going to test their luck in the draft. Does this mean the Giants aren't liking their QB options at number 3? This move honestly makes me feel like they either don't like Shedeur Sanders or they're pretty sure he won't be available at 3. Travis Hunter and Malik Neighbors could possibly be on the same team next year. That would be sick. The last bit of NFL news this week, Stefon Diggs takes his talent to Boston, to the Northeast, where he joins Drake May and becomes the Patriots' number 1 wide receiver, getting paid $69 million over 3 years. But they do have an out after 1 year, as reported by not only Schultz, but other analysis. I do like the move for the Patriots, though. They were receiver needy, and Stefon Diggs needed a landing spot. He is coming off an injury-esque, not great season, but I'd take Stefon at 75% than the room they currently have. Ben Affleck is probably already in line wearing his jersey waiting for a cup of Joe at Dunkin' Donuts. And Vrabel's probably stoked, hoping he doesn't have to slice his dong off for a championship ring in his old stomping grounds. The Texans lose another impact player, though. Stefon was a big reason that CJ Stroud had the success he did. Now, I think CJ was always going to be a good player, but it definitely helps to have a caliber player like Stefon Diggs. I mean, he's made plenty of QBs look good. I mean, Josh was already good, but when he was on the Vikings, he made some average to below average QBs look good. Now, there wasn't much NFL news. That's pretty much about it. We will get into the draft as the draft comes, but we do have some NBA news to get into. Now, there has been some regular season games that have been enticing to watch. Now, because we are mid-season in the NBA, there hasn't been like a lot of crazy news, but LeBron's finally healthy. And in a blowout game against the Bucks, Bronny shines with 17 points and 5 assists. And you know who immediately comes out and says, I always knew he had it. I always knew he was special. Stephen A. Smith. As big of a fan as I am, it was not a good look after that confrontation he had with LeBron, pulling a Will Smith. Keep my son's name out of your mouth. And after all that scrutiny of being drafted because of nepotism, especially to the Lakers, especially that high in the draft, I just didn't think it was a good look for Stephen A. Smith to do that. Now, he is in analysis and he can change his mind. We all have been there. But it just looked weird. Just felt off like he was trying to make it up to LeBron. Now, LeBron, in many people's eyes, is the GOAT. And so, of course, you want to be on his good side, especially if you are an analyst covering that sport. You want to be able to talk to him. You want to be able to be on his good side because he can change a lot of people's minds and he has a lot of outreach. The Lakers have not looked that good. And after that hot ass start post Luka trade, I don't know. Is it growing pains or is it signs of what's to come during the postseason? Luka looks great. The team just has not converted to the W column lately. But Luka's dropping like 40 points, 35 points. LeBron's back. So I'm hoping that they get it fixed. But just haven't liked how they've been looking the last 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. Speaking of one of the partners, one of the sides in the Luka trade, Kyrie gets ruled out for the entire season. After trading away your franchise's franchise player, why the hell do you even put Anthony Davis out there again? What benefit is there? If it's just to sell tickets, that's fair enough. But with your team 2 games below 500 and no Kyrie out there, I don't see a point to just play him. And fingers crossed, he doesn't get hurt. Otherwise, those fingers will be pointed from fans and the media at who? Nico Harrison. That guy has single-handedly just like ruined the Mavericks franchise. And I know it probably has a lot to do with the owners and the front office, but if they gave out an award for like worst front office of the year, Nico hands down wins that out of any front office, out of any sports team in any professional sport. Now to some fun news. Eric Spoelstra's ex-wife Nikki is rumored to be sneaking behind closed doors with Jaime Jaquez Jr. After a fan has been slowly monitoring their interactions on social media, for months she's been liking his posts. Even each other's families have been following each other. Questions started to arise after they realized that this was abnormal behavior. She doesn't follow any other Heat player and definitely doesn't interact on their page. She stopped liking his post. Guess what? The minute after he started posting his new girlfriend. Now, people are wondering if this has to do with a lack of in his performance this year. Noticeable difference in closeness to other Heat players? Like he doesn't seem like he's still friends with all the vets, or at least as close as he was last year, and he's been performing pretty badly. Now, it could be false. These are just accusations, right? Could just be sophomore slump. Could be all the Jimmy Butler stuff and how the team changes. But it wasn't until she addressed these rumors that the NBA and drama really began to be taken seriously. Jaime, pillow talking coach's ex wife, that's not even just slightly funny, but that's a wild move to make. He has all the control over how your career goes, especially during your rookie contract. He could sit you, he can make you look bad on the floor because of scheme. Like, he's the, if I'm a player, that's like the last person I might fuck with. Coach's ex wife, that is hilarious. But on the low, Jaime, you dog. That's funny as hell. I wonder if this is true. And I wonder if his current girlfriend knows if it did happen. Because Nikki Spolstra stopped liking all of his posts the minute he started posting his girlfriend. That's just hilarious. I've never seen a sports story like this. I've seen them like where players get with other players' ex-wives or other players' current girlfriends, but a coach, you might as well go through the front office, through the ownership. It'll be interesting to see how this affects going forward. And if it's not true, why would she even come out and say anything about it? Like, just let it go. That's what makes me feel like there might be some slight truth to this story because she came out and addressed it on Twitter, on Instagram, like on TikTok, like on everything. He hasn't said anything about it. I'm sure he won't, but she did. Jaime's a good player, so I hope this doesn't affect him too much, but coach's ex-wife, that could really mess with your career. Now, opening day for the MLB starts soon. And as the MLB season goes on, we will talk about games and storylines. Who's in the MVP race? What teams are looking good? And what teams are probably going to win the MLB championship? Otani is rumored to be throwing. If he's pitching and hitting, it's over for the league. I don't know how. If he doesn't get hurt or perform like absolutely horrible, I don't see how he doesn't just win an MVP this year. Outside of MLB starting, I do love movies, and we will go over some absolute box office hits There's a lot of movies that are coming out this summer. A lot. Jurassic, Mickey. We got a lot of Marvel movies. We got the Minecraft movie. Like, I just love movies, so we're probably going to go over a lot of them. Especially the big ones. We'll break down, we'll give opinions. But that's during the summertime as those movies come out. And the shows. A lot of shows coming out too. I do appreciate anybody listening. Go ahead and follow. Drop a like, comment, follow my socials. Reach out to me. I just enjoy sports. I am getting a new mic soon, so hopefully the audio sounds a bit better. But I will see you guys during the next episode. Let's have a good March Madness week. I hope all your bets win. And I'll see you guys on the next episode.